Well, hello everyone. I'm in a particularly buoyant mood today because I've just witnessed England utterly annihilate Ireland at rugby, which is something that doesn't happen all that often. And also because this sucker arrived in the post today. The courier knocked on the door about midday. I wasn't expecting it because it was originally supposed to be delivered on Wednesday. Then I had a cancellation message saying that the supplier had cancelled the order. I was like, what the hell's going on? TFS Express then explained that they just printed my shipping label and then cancelled the delivery because I was getting one from the second batch. I was kind of worried. I don't know why they did that. That was a bit of a strange thing to do. But I was kind of worried it meant I wouldn't actually get one. Thankfully, after getting a delivery date of the 27th, it just randomly arrived today. I guess DPD were feeling like they wanted to get their bank holiday deliveries out of the way so they could get drunk and not have to worry about doing their runs on Monday. Anyway, this is FT-29T, which is Fans Toys' new updated deco of their Quietus mould, which is obviously their take on a masterpiece Cyclonus. This T variant is closer to the original animation model colours, particularly as he appeared in the movie. Some episodes of season 3, but season 3, as we know, was all over the place. But definitely much closer to the way he looked in the movie. And my initial reaction to Quietus when it was released was one of disappointment because I felt it strayed too far away from the aesthetic, the original animation aesthetic. It was more in keeping maybe with the IDW and also the comic version of the character or some later episodes of season 3. But it wasn't what I wanted, it wasn't what I envisaged, and I was disappointed as a result. Thankfully, now having this in hand, it clears up, or it mitigates a lot of the issues, I should say, that I had with the figure. But I'll talk about that as we go through. I'm not going to transform it, just to forewarn you. If you're looking for a transformation video, this is not it. This is just more of an unboxing chat, kind of thing. I don't really want to scratch the hell out of my figure. I don't know if Fans Toys have resolved the issues with the scratching, but I'm not risking it, especially not on camera, especially because I've never transformed it before. So I'm afraid you'll have to go elsewhere. I would suggest checking out either T-Man's video, or I think MGo's done one. Anyway, T-Man I can recommend. Really good chill review channel. Brilliant. If you're not subscribed to that, I would give a big shout out to that guy. Does really excellent videos. Okay, so let's take a look at the packaging. There we go. The original box is slightly different. I'm going to bring that in for comparison in a bit. But here we go. We have a nice picture of FT-29T. On the back we have more pictures. The text is the same as the original release. The pictures are different, and oddly enough, in the pictures he looks closer to the deco on the original FT-29 release, which is very strange. But I do like that they've at least given it a bit of a picture with Sovereign there, their Galvatron. You can see him in jet mode or spaceship mode, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I like those pictures, but what I will do is, I don't know if it will fit in on camera together, but I'll do the best I can. I've got the original box here for FT-29, and I have to say, I kind of miss the artwork. Let's see if I can get that centralised a bit more. Yeah, there we go. So I think the artwork that they did, the original art, looks a lot better than just a static product shot. I mean, that would look fine on the back of the box, but that for me is much nicer. So I'm kind of bummed out that they've done that, because I'm probably going to sell the original release because I've got no real reason to hold on to it. I'd like to recoup the money that I spent on it. I guess I could have a second one for IDW Samurai Cyclonus, but I'm not really an IDW guy. I've never really read it, so I've already got another Cyclonus in the form of X-Transbots Elagos as well, so I think 3 is pushing it, even though he's one of my favourite characters. But yes, this box I think all round nicer. It's got the pictures on the side, which you can see this one doesn't have. The back is kind of similar. This one shows off the different modes he's got better. You get the IDW head and the swords, which you don't see on here. You know, again, illustrated there. I think the poses are arguably better, and you'll see what I mean. Like, he actually looks more of a purple shade in that picture than he does there. He looks bluer there to my eyes. I don't know, purple is one of those weird colours that doesn't photograph very well. But I think this shows the figure off better than that does, so it's a weird choice on the box. Anyway, spending way too long talking about the packaging, so let's just get rid of these, and we'll bring in the styrofoam. There we go, FT-29. There's no T on it, but this is just a quick look at what's included. Let me just pop this off. Oh, it's going all over the place. Anyway, so you get the standard stuff. You get the manual, as you'd expect. That also includes the collector card in the back. It's the same sort of sturdy credit card type material. Looks pretty cool. Yeah. Ooh. You have all of the bits that came with the original FT-29. So you've got the IDW add-ons, the scabbards for the swords and the swords themselves. And yeah, I think, I could be wrong actually, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to check. Should have done that pre-video. But I'm sure these came attached. Yeah, they did, definitely. These little bits here are the pieces that pop into, or they clip into here, the scabbards, and the swords, they were pre-attached to the swords on the original release, and so many people had issues with them. I'm guessing that's why they've decided not to pre-attach them, because to get them off of the swords was, pardon my French, a fucking nightmare. You felt like you were going to snap the swords or break something, or anyway, so they've obviously taken the decision to package them separately, which I applaud. You have a screamer there, which is the Target Master, I believe, was he Nightstick? I'm pretty sure he was Nightstick. That's the Target Master. That doesn't look any different than the one that came with the original FT-29. You get the oxidizing blaster there, the corrosive rifle, which is the same as the one that he had in G1. Different than the cyclonic pistol that he has in the TV show, but it's very much a nod to the G1, although why they did it in this stupid purple colour, I'll never know. And you also get the alternate faces and the IDW head with the broken or fully intact horns. The faces, you get a shouting face, which you may just about be able to see there. You also get another face there, a stoic face, which is not shouting. Now, I could be wrong. I need to check this out. Oh no, hold on, it's there anyway. Sorry, I missed it. Behind there is another face, which you can't really see, which is the shouting face, but without the goatee. I personally, Cyclodus for me never really had his little beard in the movie or in the comics, so I don't really like him with it, but I keep him with it for the time being, because he comes attached with the one with the goatee, or the Van Dyke. Is it a goatee or a Van Dyke? Van Dyke. Anyway, I digress. I keep him attached with that one because my Elagos doesn't have that, so I use it to differentiate between the two. Anyway, so that's what you get in the package. Again, you'll see the colour is different. I think this is one of the things that's going to be an issue with this showing up on camera. It's much more obvious in person that the colours are very different between the two to the naked eye. But on camera, they look quite similar, so hopefully you'll be able to pick it up. But definitely you should be able to see the pinkish hue to the faces and the more purple lilac deco than the bluish that came with the original release. Anyway, so let's get rid of that. That's all the accessories. And let's bring in FT-29T. Here we go. Now that is a sweet looking Cyclonus. That is exactly what I wanted from the first release, but didn't get. I've got a bit of a few bits of pieces still. Is that something stuck? Sorry, I'm just noticing that. I can't tell if that's the light. I think there's a little bit of polystyrene stuck in there. That's not actually... I'll get that out later. Anyway, I thought it was worried it was a bit of paint chipping then, because my original FT-29 had a slight mark on here. It also had a scratch there, which thankfully wasn't a scratch in the end. It came off after applying some water, and with a cotton bud I was able to rub it off. But yeah, this is what I always wanted from the figure. Like, Cyclonus, to me, I fell in love with the character in the Marvel comics. I must admit that was where I really, really first sort of loved it. But the movie interpretation of the character was also another major draw for me, far more than the season 3 interpretation. This is much more in keeping with what I wanted. I love this more purple colour. Again, it's still possibly not quite exactly how, but I think it's due to the fact it's quite a shiny paint finish. If this was more of a matte finish, it would be closer to what I imagine. But what I really love about this are the joints, not the joints, sorry, the limbs, the pink limbs and pink face. That's exactly what I wanted from a Cyclonus. What I'll do is I'll bring in the original release, just so you can see, side by side. Let's move this guy slightly over that way, and then bring in the original FT-29. I've got them in quite similar poses, so you can see what they look like. Let me just move that over a little bit more and bring this guy in more central. There you go. So you can see, hopefully that will show up on the camera. Again, not as much as it does to the naked eye, because I'm looking at this now and I'm like, there's a real difference, a real clear difference. That one is definitely more of a metallic blue, whereas that's more of a metallic purple. There are very obviously sort of whitish light grey limbs and extremities and hands, face, whereas that is very obviously a pinkish hue. I don't hate that. I don't want to give the impression I do. I still think it looks great. I mean, a lot of people will use that. I think it's an overused term now, premium finish. Yeah, it looks great. It looks sweet. It's a nice paint job, but ultimately it didn't scream Cyclonus to me. It screamed a hybrid version of Cyclonus. It's like we've taken inspiration from the toy, the comic, the movie, the TV series, IDW's interpretation, and we've kind of fudged it and turned it into this. Whereas this guy, again, I still don't think he's quite right aesthetically in terms of the mould, which I'll discuss in a minute. There are a few things that I still think are wrong about him, and I think that X-Transbots did better. But from a pure finish point of view, there's no competition. This guy has got a much better finish than X-Transbots. But yeah, now in this deco, it's so much closer to what I originally wanted. I really, it's a strange thing because it seems like a minor difference on camera, I'm guessing, but it really, in person, I'm just drawn to that in a way that I'm not drawn to that. This guy was relegated to my armada, if you like, my second mystery Cyclonus, the guy who disappeared. Elagos has been my main display piece with Sovereign and Andras, but I'm really on the fence now as to whether I replace Elagos with Quietus, the T version, because it just looks great. As I say, I'll bring Elagos in a minute so I can talk about some of the things I prefer about that. But on the whole, I just hope that this will speak. I'm just going to give you a shot without my hand waving in front of it for a second. The limbs, the pink hue is just right. I mean, Elagos had that real pink hue before it was released. I think the proto versions, the test shots had a very pink tone to it. They dialed it back for the retail release. I think that was a mistake because it differentiated it from a lot of other bots. Now, a lot of Decepticons are purple, but they're purple and white or purple and silver. What I loved about Cyclonus' animation model was that they went a different direction and gave him that weird kind of pink colour for his arms and legs and face. I thought it was just a very strange but unique decision to do so. He looks different than any other Decepticon. This does a great job of capturing that. There's not really a lot of difference between them in terms of mould. In fact, there's none really. All the bits are the same. You can see if I put them side by side like this, I've got them in almost identical poses really, but it's really just the finish. As you can see, the cyclonic pistols are the same, the sculpted details all the same. It's honestly just the deco that's different. Yeah, you can see there, everything looks the same at the back. The paint job on mine's actually not bad. There are a few minor issues with both, but by and large they're nothing major that I can see. Yeah, I'm having a quick look over again while it's on camera to see if anything stands out, but no, this it's a great looking figure. Let me just get rid of the original a moment, because as I said, I want to discuss some of the things that I think X-Transbots does better. So I'll move this fella back around so we can see him from the front. And then let's bring in X-Transbots version of the character. And right there you can see the difference is, I think I might have to adjust this again because you've got to allow for the fact that Elagos is a big guy. There we go. Obviously that looks more expensive. There's no getting away from it. The paint job's fantastic. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not a hater of bare plastic though. I don't think it looks terrible. I mean, a lot of people say it looks cheap. I don't really think it does. I think it's a certain aesthetic choice, but I don't dislike it. I'm not a massive hater, but I will agree that when you put it next to something like this, that definitely captures the eye. However, this is where I had a few issues with it. I love this guy because it was the first Cyclonus I had, and it is incredibly screen accurate, but a few issues. It's far more screen accurate than this is in a lot of ways. So, for example, all of this midriff and up to there, that's more accurate. The shoulders are more accurate. The details on the wings are far more accurate, as are the shoulders. I think the colour, in fact, is probably more accurate. Certainly the arms and everything upwards is probably more accurate, bar perhaps the collar piece and these extra lines on the chest, which aren't on the animation model. But everything else I love. I think it looks great. I think the horns are more accurate. The face is pretty cool. It's lost some of the detail because it's quite soft sculpt. So when they changed the colour from the original pinkish hue that it was, which brought out those details, when they changed that, it lost some of it. But I still think it looks pretty cool. I think the detail in the legs up to here is great. The hips pieces are all normal. The cyclonic pistol is far more accurate to the show in terms of its size. I like the sword. I just generally, everything from the knees up, I think's great. I also prefer the fact that it's a huge, well, okay, huge may be wrong, but it's a big figure. It's getting on for MP27 Magnus size, so it's good that he can go up against him, whereas this is a tad smaller and slighter overall. But this guy is tall and imposing and looks like he could dish out some punishment. What this clearly does better, for my money, is everything from the knees down. So the legs, the profile of the legs is much better, the feet are better. There's no getting away from that. 100% hands down victory to Fans Toys in terms of that element of the figure. But that's quite a small element, or overall. From the front, I still think when you have them next to Sovereign and Andras, I still think this guy looks better, or is more fitting. He's just, if you're going by the toon, Cyclonus was bigger and more imposing than Galvatron, if not as powerful, but he looked like he could really handle himself and was a fitting enforcer stroke second in command. This guy doesn't evoke that, really. It doesn't kind of... he's still a cool looking figure, but I don't know why. Even though I'm drawn to that in terms of how it looks, I still feel that the size and overall presence of this one is better. I appreciate I'm probably in the minority there, but we like what we like, don't we? If we spin them around slightly, the profiles, again, Fans Toys is a lot sleeker, I'll give it that. It's the backpack especially is a lot bigger on Elagos. And if I spin them all the way around, yeah, again, I think he looks a lot cleaner from the back. I don't think that looks terrible, but what does look pretty bad are the legs. Again, as I said, everything down, and also the strange, nose cone spike penis that they left. I don't know why they engineered it like that. Anyway, it's weird. But I digress. Anyway, I prefer the colours of some things. I think, like the arms especially, if we look at the forearms, I still feel that the colour they've used there and for the knees is more accurate to the show, the animation model, than the magenta they've used there. But although they retained a very slight pink hue to the arms and legs and the face, I think they dialed it back too much because of fan or community pressure. This is much better, much more accurate to how it was in the movie and the show, etc. So on balance, I don't know. It's a real toss-up now for me, because I think there are elements of both that I love. I'm definitely going to keep both of these. There's no way I'm getting rid of Elagos. He will, Quietus will never replace Elagos in my display. He will be a companion piece. I might switch them around, decide which one I want in the main display. If Fans Toys ever gets around to releasing their Scourge, I mean, they teased a silhouette, but it's strange to me that they've done Galvatron, Cyclonus, but Scourge is nowhere on the horizon as far as I can tell. We haven't even seen a prototype yet. If they ever get around to it, it may be that for just for continuity, I want to have all of the Fans Toys Unicronian figures together, because I don't think we're ever going to see Abaddon now, and Abaddon was X-Transbots version of Galvatron, and again we saw it wasn't even a test shot, was it? It was a render, and the render did look great. It looked better than Sovereign actually, but I just don't think we're going to see it now. I think X-Transbots has moved on to other things. I'd like to be proved wrong, because there's room. Cyclonus, Scourge, Galvatron, three of my all-time favourite Transformers, definitely in my top 5 Decepticons, and as I say, probably Galvatron and Cyclonus in my top 5 Transformers, along with such massive ones as Shockwave, Optimus Prime. We're talking that level of, and probably Megatron as well, but we're talking that kind of level of fanboy enthusiasm for those characters. So there's definitely room in my collection for 2 sets of figures from 2 suppliers. I can use them in different parts of the display. But I don't know, I can't get rid of that guy. I think he's great. I'm going to decide what I want to do with this one. I think he's going to sit in the Season 3 Detolf below him. I currently have the existing FT-29 with Hydra and TE-01B, their Nemesis Prime. They look really good together. We'll just see how it goes. I think there's a lot of options now. What I don't think I'm going to do is keep hold of the original FT-29. I know that there are a lot of people who haven't been able to get hold of that mould, that are after it. The aftermarket prices on eBay are pretty insane, especially for this guy, because a lot of scummy fucking wankers basically bought multiple copies of it and have already tried to scalp people. I mean, 225, 230 quid is what this is on eBay from UK sellers at the moment. That's £100 more or so that it cost from some retailers in the UK. Yeah, that's not people who are collectors who've bought the figure and a few months later have gone, okay, I'm going to move it on. I can make a bit of a profit because it's in demand. You know, I've had my enjoyment, whatever. That's people robbing genuine collectors of their ability to buy and enjoy a figure so that they can stick it on eBay at vastly inflated prices because they're fucking wankers, basically. And I hope they all burn in hell. Might sound a bit harsh, but I can't stand that kind of price gouging. I think it's not in the spirit of the hobby. And these people are purely out to make a dime out of people. I just hope no one buys them. I hope they've bought all this stock and they've spent hundreds of pounds and they can't shift them and they have to take the hit because, yeah, there's one on there, Dr. Archiville or Octaville or whatever he calls himself. He constantly does it, and there are a couple of others as well. And, you know, we're not talking like a 10, 20, 30 quid markup. You're talking 100 quid, and quite frankly, you suck. So, yeah. Anyway, I've gone on a massive rant against eBay scalpers there, but I kind of lost my train of thought, which happens a lot, to be honest. Anyway, to try and bring it back around, I probably will sell my original FT-29, but I'm really going to probably try and sell to another collector for what I originally paid for it. I think I paid about 150 quid for it. So as long as I can get that and don't take a hit on the shipping, you know, I'm happy to move it on for a reasonable price. So I'm probably just going to do that. I think there are enough people on forums who want a version of the figure, even if it's not the FT-29T. They still want the original. I'd rather someone genuinely got enjoyment from it than I put it on eBay. And I know I could get more money for it, but I'd rather it went to someone who was going to give it a good home, so to speak. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Unless I did toy, as I say, I did toy with the idea of putting it into IDW mode and having it as kind of a secondary samurai one, and then maybe buying a tailgate figure. But I've got no real investment in IDW, so I'd only be doing that, you know, I don't know why I'd be doing that. I wouldn't, probably. So as it happens, you know, I'm much happier with this version of the figure, so I'm definitely keeping that. Even before it arrived, I didn't think there was any competition in my mind, and now I'm 100% convinced that this is the version that I want. I'll bring in FT-29, the original again. Just shift Elagos off to the side a little bit. There you go, buddy. Still, I can understand why people prefer this. Some people have even been swapping the pink limbs out with the white limbs, so they've had a hybrid. I don't get that because, you know, each to their own, I suppose, but I don't really get it. I don't get why you'd buy the new version, then do some kind of Frankenstein's monster thing with it. But, you know, you like what you like. I still think this is much better all over. The colours everywhere, just better. That's a much better purple, and that's more of a steely blue. If they released a Galvatron in that colour, I think that would make a lot of people happy, because in the movie he was more of a steely blue colour than he was purple. Sovereign's a much darker Season 3 purple. So I think Fans Toys could make a lot of money on a repaint, like a T repaint of Sovereign. Maybe that will arrive. I'm still hoping to see a Marvel repaint of it, because I love the Marvel colours. That was what I grew up with. But yeah, anyway, so for the time being, he's staying. He's probably going. Elagos will also stay. And I'm much happier with that. It sucks that Fans Toys released it in such limited quantities, because only a few people, or comparatively few people, have been able to get hold of it. I can kind of understand why they did it. It sold out pretty much everywhere instantaneously. I was very lucky in that my original seller was, or sorry, say my original seller, my regular seller was very upfront and said that he didn't think or didn't know if he could get it, so that anyone who wanted it should look elsewhere. I immediately went onto one of the UK websites, found it for a decent price, ordered it there and then. I was lucky because my seller has subsequently got it in at a much higher price. There was another UK website that also had it. I think they posted on Facebook that they had it, and it sold out within 5 minutes and was at least £30 more expensive than what I paid. So yeah, I think this is one of those times when I actually, I got a good deal, and I'm very happy with it. So, as I say, I'm not gonna transform it. So apologies if you were looking for that, but hopefully this has given you an overview of the differences between the two versions. If you're a real fan of this, it is still out there in very limited quantities, and as I said, you might have to pay through the nose for it. Sorry, but again, if you're as big a fan of the character as I am, you might want to go for it. I wouldn't recommend buying it from the eBay scalpers, but you can still get it from genuine sellers for a little bit more than I would have been comfortable paying for it. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, this hobby, we all know what we're getting into, don't we? It's a money pit. It's a slippery slope. Before you know it, you've got one or two figures, and then before you know it, you're in deep and you're paying 200 quid for an out of print figure, and so that's what we have to deal with in this hobby. So I can understand those who do pay scalper prices, but I don't really like it myself. Anyway, hopefully this has given you a side-by-side comparison that will help you make your mind up. I appreciate it's been a bit of a rambling one, but then if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that's kind of my style. This is all very much stream of consciousness reaction to things. I was quite happy that I managed to get another water slide on him looking as good as the first one, which is a bitch. It took me, that's the third attempt before I got it right, so I went through a few. But he's now looking spot on, and will go in the detail and look fantastic next to the ones that are already in there. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I said I would do this in my last video. I do feel for you guys who haven't been able to get hold of it, because I've just been sat here praising it so much. But if Cyclonus means as much to you as a character as he does to me, and you're on the fence, and this is what you wanted originally, if you get the opportunity, I would definitely say go for it. You will be able to shift your original FT-29 for reasonable money, probably not what you pay for this, but you could recoup a lot of what you spent. So you won't take as much of a hit as you might have. Or maybe you do want the two, one for IDW, one for Sumbo. So anyway, until next time, I don't really know what my next review or unboxing or whatever is going to be, because I've got a few things on order now. I think I've got Fans Toys Hunk and Jabba on order. Don't know when either of those is going to drop. I've also got Takara's Hound and Bumblebee on order. Again, I think they're due. I think there should be some stuff due in September, but there might be a steady stream now every month now up until Christmas. I also have I forget the name, but it's the Make Toys or Make Toys, however you want to say it, the Dirge that they're releasing. I do have that on order, but that keeps getting put back. So I forget what they've called him. It's something like Grave Digger or something, or I don't know. Anyway, I've got that on order. I don't know when that's going to drop, but I should have a few more figures coming before the end of the year, and I will do videos on those as well. So yeah, if you like my particular brand of rambling, then please stay tuned to the channel, and I'll upload some stuff as and when I get the opportunity. But yeah, thanks for looking, and I will see you next time.